Hi, Thomas.
Hi, how are you?
I am fantastic.
Are you really?
I mean, it's a thing that I say when people ask me how I am.
Mm-hmm. How's it going? Great. It's great. Why'd you hum all that time? No reason.
Nobody wants to really know.
But why'd you hum all that time? None of your business. Why'd your voice go up?
Why all these questions?
Yeah. Why don't you ask yourself these questions? It's great.
I get a question.
Hi. I have answers.
What do you think about the old Witbier?
I love wit beers.
I am a fan of wit beers too. I'm not a big fan of wheat beers in general.
Not my go-to thing, like wheat beers in general, because I'm not a Hefeweizens. I'd rather have a wit beer and like German Hefs. I'm like, it just tastes like fucking banana and stupidness and bubblegum.
Yeah, I don't mind some of the dark wheat beers. Yeah, they're fine, but yeah, by and large.
I really love wit beers. I always have, always will. You know, whether it was, what's the one from Avery, the White Rascal, or
that's a good one.
Hell, even Hugarten or
Hugarten's great.
Blockbusters or any of them. I just like wit beers. I like how spicy they are. Like spiced, not capsaicin, I guess. Because if that happens, go screw.
Yeah, that would be unpleasant.
Yeah.
Like Blue Moon, they say Blue Moon's a wit beer.
It's not.
That's a stretch.
No, that's a glass of water pretending to be a wit beer. There's
Pretty
nothing
much.
wrong with it. I mean, when people are like, I like Blue Moon, Shock Top sucks. I'm like, they're kind of the same beer. So
They're
just
the
take
same
it.
thing.
Is Blue Moon better than Shock Top? Sure, but
Probably.
I'd rather just, rather have a Coca-Cola,
Yeah, Shock Top is like a facsimile of a Blue Moon, which is a facsimile of a Hugarten,
Yes.
which is also not what it used to be. So,
Yeah, and by the way, the toner cartridge was low when they were making all those facsimiles.
yes.
So it was a facsimile on that like thermal paper, like from the mid '80s. That's what I'm talking about. Welcome to Fax Talk. We go over the latest and greatest in facsimile technology. Yeah.
You know, it's dumb. I still am forced to use a fax machine on a regular basis at my job, so
God bless you.
it is annoying.
Because why on earth would you scan and email something when you can send it over Southwestern Bell?
Why send a nice crisp email when you can send a blurry fucking
Because emails
blacked
don't.
out?
Well, here's the thing: emails don't have
Unreadable.
timestamps on them. Oh wait, shit, they do. But emails get lost all the time, unlike faxes, which always go through no matter what.
Faxes are forever.
They are.
That's what they say.
The fax machine keeps copies forever. They're great. That's why they're so big. They have a lot of memory.
Yeah.
See, I get it. Is the new spinoff just a tax? We're talking about faxes and taxes. It's the world's most boring podcast.
It's gonna be short. I know that. I'm pretty much out of.
So, how do you do your taxes? I buy TurboTax. Leave me alone. Scratch that. I split TurboTax. I don't even buy my own copy. Oh, what are we talking about? Witbier, right?
Witbier. Yeah, let's stick with Witbier for now.
Okay.
We'll get back to
Should we just start that over?
We'll get back to faxes.
Oh, thank God. I was worried for a second. No, I like Witbiers. I like when they're done properly. I like the fact that they can be refreshing. It's a beer for all seasons.
Oh yeah.
Which I love that about it. It's just, I don't know, it's enjoyable when it's done correctly.
Yeah.
When it's done shittily, I'm not. It's an easy beer, I think, to do wrong.
You think so? Like
Like-
too much
Yeah,
Coriander
and by
or
wrong I
something,
mean
or-
it's either weak or unbalanced.
over the top.
Yeah, getting the spice balance correct and the yeastiness correct is what makes it hard.
Yeah.
So, or I should say difficult. So I enjoy it.
Yeah. Belgian beers are tricky for craft brewers, I think, because Belgian beers require subtlety. And craft brewers don't really do that.
I was gonna say 80 to 90% of craft breweries go towards the like Gilbert Godfrey method of brewing. It's like if it's louder, therefore it's better.
Yeah.
So how many things can we cram into a beer? I misread a label earlier on another beer and claimed that there was black lava in it, and now I kind of like, well, maybe there should be.
Maybe, I mean,
Be the world's most expensive beer.
people like to put stupid shit in beer.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's some really terrible ones out there, but I like the simplicity and the cleanliness and the yeastiness of a wood beer, and I've made one before. It was fairly successful.
Yeah.
We called it the Harry Elizabeth, and the label was a picture of the Queen of England with a triple mustache. I don't know where I found this picture, but it was a delight to me, and I enjoyed it.
What's a triple mustache again?
It's 3 mustaches stacked on top of each other.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it looks like if 3 mustaches were like a biplane, except it was a triplane, and they were mustaches.
Okay.
Am I painting a real tapestry here
I
for
got
you? Okay. Got it. But no, I think the biggest thing for brewing one of these, if you're doing home brewing, is getting the yeast propped up correctly. You need enough cell count to get this big floral yeasty flavor. So
Yeah.
and for these not to be too old or too stressed or too many generations of it, it's just
Oh, I thought that's how you got a lot of the esters from the yeast is by stressing it.
You do.
Just
You
to
do.
a certain degree, though.
But if you do it 6, 7, 8 times, then it can start to get weird, funky, and you don't exactly have what you're looking for.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you want enough cell count to properly ferment the beer, but you don't want to over pitch it because then the yeast won't get stressed and you won't get the flavors you want. So that's where brewing software comes in, and calculators and cell counts and stir plates and what I consider to be the fun part of it. But
This one's nice too. This is the Rockwell Passing Clouds.
Passing Clouds.
It's got a little bit more like bitter finish to it than some of them have.
Think
Did
so?
you get that?
I don't know.
I don't know. I drank some 120 proof whiskey before we drank this, so maybe my palate's jacked up.
Here's the thing. I also was drinking an ESB before this, so we're really not good at this. No, it's got a little bit of at the end, but
It's subtle. Like you know, it's not.
It's pretty
a bitter beer.
No,
by any
I
stretch.
wouldn't say that, but I can see where you're coming from. It has a little bit of a twinge on the end, so I like it. I'm partial, jaded. What's the word I'm looking for?
Biased.
Biased.
We'll just
Thank
go with
you.
biased.
Thank you. I wasn't even close. I'm biased, but I also like that wit beers aren't 8%. Like 4,
Oh, for sure.
5%. I'm down with that. Flavorful. Like I said, they're good in the summer, but I can also drink them in the winter. I feel like it's easy for some people to go overboard with like the grains of paradise or the coriander or the orange peel. Blue Moon's very orangey.
Yeah, for sure. And they tell you to throw an orange in there. I'm like, it's orangey enough. It doesn't have a ton of flavor, but it's definitely got some orange.
There was one time there was a pilot program at AB that I heard about where they were going to hire a company to take fruit and laser engrave messages on the fruit on oranges. And then they would cut those oranges and then send them to bars to put on a pint of shock top. So when you got the beer, there's like a little like funny message in the orange. I was like, so their plan is to spend money on oranges, engrave them, cut them, and send them to bars. So when they get the oranges, they're dry. It was hilarious. Needless to say, it never came into full swing or production. But I want to know, like, there was a company that did this. That was part of their business model was
really?
to laser engrave fucking fruit.
Sounds like a fucking Bond villain side hustle.
I was just saying, Max Zorin in between his blimp businesses. What about engraving Tangelos? So it was the craziest thing I've ever heard.
That's one of the weirder AB stories I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of them.
There are.
There's a lot of them, whether it involves helicopters or drunk driving,
Been a lot of
murder.
swings and misses.
You know, a lot of things. Yeah, and then there's their products. The 2 different iterations of Jekyll and Hyde. The best damn root beer where no one told the brewers that it needed to have carbonation. So they didn't make it, and it was super flat. It also stained styrofoam cups if you put it in styrofoam. It penetrated and stained the cup. It was,
Oh, wow.
that was best damn root beer. Yeah. Oh, remember that, the hard root beer craze of 3 years ago.
Yep, that was a quick one.
When is that episode coming? Soon?
Oh, yeah. I guess that's a specialty style. That's going to be in the new BJCP.
Yeah, that's going to be right after the Gruit episode, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. And then the Kvass.
We'll get around to those whenever we go through all the other styles.
Yeah.
Be like, well, it's time to get into...
That's like the non-canonical Bond movies. Like I don't want to do the Peter Sellers one. But hey, whatever. So what is, I mean, of the wheat beers, where does this rank in your like you said, you like dark wheat beers, or
I like them more than like just a straight up hef.
Yeah,
I like the darker ones, but I like a Witbier. I think Witbier's got to be at the top or close to it. I like a Berliner Weiss a lot too. I'm a really big fan of Berliner Weiss. It's kind of an oddball, but
I like Berliner Weisses, but I find that the ones I like, but I'd say 3 out of every 5 I try, I don't. But those other 2, I'm like, yeah. So it's always tough for me.
And it's a thing too where like we get craft versions of Berliner Weisses and they don't make them the way you're supposed to make them.
Well, maybe that's the thing, because like the one that always comes to mind, like a lot of people love it here in St. Louis, and it's a very pretty beer and somewhat popular, but the perennial Hopfen tea.
Oh, I like the Hopfen tea. It's fine.
I don't, whatever flavor adjuncts they use, they're just not for me. There's nothing wrong with the beer. I'm sure it's well made.
I prefer the Kudam any fucking day.
I don't like the Kudam.
Really, I like the Kudam. It's aggressive, especially for an urban chestnut beer. Like it's a tart beer.
I don't know. Maybe it's when they start throwing those flavor variants in there. Yeah, I made that up.
Yeah,
flavorants. That there's just some of those I don't really like. Like I'm not a big passion fruit guy.
I haven't had many of the variants of that.
Or hibiscus, I'm not terribly fond of. But if you did like I don't know, some other fruit, I'm sure I'd be like, yeah, all right, cool. I don't know. I'm a basic bee.
But yeah, I'd probably take a Witbier over Berliner Weiss. They're more consistent, I feel like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what else do you want to talk about with Witbier other than it's great?
It is great.
I heard a rumor that AB was thinking about discontinuing Hugarten a couple years ago. It's never happened. I doubt it'll ever happen. It's too good of a beer.
It's a good beer, man. But
again,
we also said how great Left was, and it's barely hanging on.
Yeah,
it seems like.
Yeah, that's true. But here's the thing. That's like hearsay and rumor. I have no evidence of that. That was like, you might as well have said like, yeah, and AB's planning on colonizing the moon. Yeah, it might be true, but I mean, I don't know how faithful these were. It's just one of those things you'd hear. But the orange story was absolutely fucking true. That happened. I have proof of that. Yeah, I don't know. I get, would Hugarten probably be the most widely available like actual wit beer?
Oh yeah, it's got to be.
I would think so.
I don't know.
That or
maybe Shock Top or Blue Moon. Like those have huge footprints too, but like
they're not.
They're bullshit.
They're not spicy enough. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not, in my opinion, a true wit beer. Like after that, like maybe Avery White Rascal is pretty popular or pretty widespread.
Oh yeah, that's got to be the next biggest one in the area for sure. I don't know what kind of footprint Avery has. They've been around for a long time though.
Yeah, I figure west, you're probably gonna be able to find Avery pretty easily. But
yeah, because they've been around for 20 some odd years.
I don't know about east. I'm just trying to think who else has wit beers aplenty.
Oh, like Allagash White.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a great one if you can get it.
Yeah. Which we can't, but it's around.
I was gonna say, if we could, I'd drink a hell of a lot of it. But there's good examples for other listeners that may live not here.
Oh yeah, you can always find a wit beer.
Yeah, that's good. I would, and if you're looking at wit beer, if it's not in can, if it's in bottle, the only thing I say is like some older wit beers, you can see a little bit of sediment on the bottom if it gets a little bit older. Keep an eye out for that. But other than that, I mean, they hold pretty well. Yeah, I don't know. I just wish people do more. Every once in a while, I'll find like an imperial wit beer or like a double wit beer in a larger format. Yeah, drink them.
It's like I said, it's a pretty simple style of beer. There's not a lot to say about it really, but sometimes that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. It's also a fairly homebrew. I think it's pretty straightforward to make one. I think it's kind of hard to make an excellent one.
You got to do the same thing as like you talked about using rice hulls for.
Yes.
You do the same with this.
I would.
Right?
Anytime there's any sort of wheat, and honestly, when I was at the Dun with last year, I brewed. I use rice hulls in almost everything. It just I didn't see it. I didn't see a downside. It was the cheapest ingredient on earth. And it was just insurance. But this especially, you'll want to use them anytime there's wheat or flaked rye.
Yeah.
A wheat or rye in any format, use
oats. Do that too? Do oats get gummy?
Flaked oats for sure. Yeah. The malted oats, they kind of look like cartoon versions of grain. They're like these very big. They almost look like large grains of rice. Those kind of act like rice hulls, so you don't really need it for malted oats. But pretty much anything out. Once you start adding anything with a high gumminess factor, there's a term, and I'm blanking on it right. It's like stochasticity or something like that. It measures how much sugar you can. The higher the number, the more sugar you can extract from a grain, and that in turn it makes it more efficient. That's why 6-row and 2-row, they have a high whatever this value is. Rye and wheats tend to be lower, and those tend to be stickier and starchier.
Right.
So, other than that, I don't know. Add peppercorns and coriander and grains of paradise. I don't know. Use all that shit. It smells good. A couple orange peels.
Yeah.
Maybe you got yourself a stew going. So, it's good.
How do you feel about adding fruit to wit beers? It's one of those
Like-
beers that people add fruit to.
You mean like at service?
Yes. So, yeah.
It's not for me. I don't like the texture of fruit and beer, like when it gets pulpy and stuff. Like I don't even like putting lime in like a Mexican beer, like a cerveza. I'll just drink it like on its own because I don't know. I just don't like that texture.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it, go for it. But also, if you want to just eat an orange, just eat an orange. Don't drink beer. I mean, like, fight off that scurvy and then have yourself a shot of something. But hey, you do you. And if there's ever a communique on it from a major global brewer, listen to that. So it's not for me. I just
I don't like it either.
I don't need a fruit salad in my fucking drink. I'm the same way with like if I order like vodka rocks, like, do you want any fruit? I'm like, no, just no. The hell out of here.
Vodka rocks?
Yeah.
I never drink vodka. I never pay for vodka, I should say.
Yeah,
I'll drink it.
I mean, I don't know. Well, or anything like if somebody makes an old fashioned or something like that, or I don't want it to be muddled and all bullshit. Like, do you want a cherry? I'm like, no, just mix the drink and keep it clean, and I'm good. I just don't like the texture of fruit. I'm a vegetable man. Put a stalk of broccoli in there, I'll probably still pass. But
I usually don't eat the cherry unless it's like a fancy cherry, like those Luxardo cherries. I'll eat that motherfucker.
And I feel bad about that.
I feel bad about not eating it.
I feel bad.
That
like
one cherry probably cost $1.
Yeah, it's like, do you want a cherry? I'm like, please save it for someone else. Or if I have an old fashioned, like or Manhattan or something, at a bar, I'll be like, if I'm with my dad or my brother and they do serve that, I'm like, here, do you want the extra cherry? And when it's a maraschino cherry, when it's a Luxardo, people are like, you don't want that? It's like, it's not. People treat it like it's a gram of cocaine or something. It's like it's expensive.
Cost per ounce, it's close.
It's yes, but also like I'm not doing you a huge favor. Like I'm glad that you could have it. That and pickles. You want a pickle? You don't want your pickle? Why would I want a pickle? Stupid. Sorry, I shot down the pickle beer that you sent me earlier. I was no, thank you. Fucking stupid pickles. They're stupid and they make you stupid. They dumb you down.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is made up knowledge.
I learned about it in the facts I got earlier.
Yeah, it was a facts for myself in the future. Yeah.
All right, we brought it back around to faxes. I think we're good.
Okay, cool. Hey, that was a great dismount.